When I was editing this video, I realized that it's a bit all over the place, and I knew it would be, but it's a little hard to follow. I jump all over the place, and I thought I would just clear things up a bit. But before I do that, I just want to show you my dope-ass brake lines. Yes, they are very cool. But so in this video, the main thing I'm talking about is the front end, and I also show the rear end swap. But let me just do a quick overview of the front end because I think that's what most of you guys are probably going to be interested in. So 2008 up Yamaha R6 triples. These are 05 Yamaha R6 forks, but if you want to simplify it and if you want to make it better, because 08 and up forks are better, just do 08 and up everything for the front end, basically. The wheel, all that is 08 R6. So what you'll need is the top bearing from All Balls Racing. You do the conversion for an R6 front end on an fz07 frame, and you're all set to go there. You use the stock fz07 or R6 bearing on the bottom, and you're good there because they're the same on the bottom. So a couple things that you'll see in the video is this is the fz07 ignition. It bolts directly to the R6 triple, but you do have to shave off a piece of metal that's on the frame on the fz07. You'll see that, otherwise the ignition barrel will hit the frame on the fz07, and I show that with a grinder. It's just a split second, but basically I just cut part of it off. One of the bigger issues is the lack of steering. It doesn't turn as far. I mean, that in itself is decent. It doesn't even look as much on camera, but in person it looks a little bit more. But that's because the steering stop on the fz07 is pretty wide, and it's done differently than the 06, or the fz07 stop is done differently than the R6 stop. So what you need to do is you need to extend that stop out, and you need to shave it down to make it kind of narrow. Mine is still maybe, sorry, I'll try to show you here so it's kind of relevant at least. Mine is still maybe about that wide. You could probably get away with like that if you beef it up a little bit and extend it out. Actually, I lie, you cannot do that because I just remembered that the fork will hit the radiator cap if you do that, which is why I left mine how it is. If you space the radiator out to the right side, this is right, this is left. If you space it out that way, you can do that, but I didn't feel like fucking with that, and so I didn't. So as of now, the steering is not as good as it is stock, but it's still pretty good. For stunting, I don't know if I would suggest this swap, to be honest, because it's a little harsh when you come down hard compared to the fz07 forks. You know, they're pretty spongy and bouncy. So that's up to you if you do that. I'm sure you could revalve or change the fluid or however you want to do that, but yeah, that's just a couple pointers I wanted to give because the video, I obviously talk slow and it's kind of all over the place. So if you do this, best of luck. There's my brand new sprocket I haven't put on. I'm waiting for my tank to be built. And there was something else on this bike I thought. Oh yeah, I need my cages back too. But other than that, good luck, have fun. What's up guys? I just wanted to give a quick tip, I guess. So I think I'm going to show the whole process of doing the front end swap on the fz07. I can't really show the whole thing since I'm kind of by myself and I forgot I had a tripod. So I can't really show the removal of all that bullshit, but if you can't do that, then you probably shouldn't do the front end swap anyways. So we're to the point where I removed everything that is coming off for the swap. Ignore all the nakedness of the rest. I don't know what fairings need to come off. I'm assuming none because of, well, I don't know. I don't know what goes right here. That's up to you if you do this. But so we got to here and I had a little difficulty removing the top bearing race because from what I understand, when you do the R6 conversion, which is like the 08 to 16 forts, onto the fz07, all you have to do is swap the top race out of the frame, and everything else is just a direct swap. So I've done that a couple times on other bikes, not the swap, just talking about bearing removal. And for some reason, it's especially difficult on this bike. So there's almost nothing at all. If you can see, it's already removed. It's just the empty frame right there. There's no race in there anymore. Here it is right here. So it just sits in there like that. Unfortunately, there's almost no stick out from the steering tube into the bottom of the race. So there's almost nothing to catch onto. If you have a bearing remover, you might get more luck because you'll be able to get 3 or 4 surfaces at the same time. But I usually just use a long screwdriver or a punch or something to do it. But I had no luck this time. So I watched a video by a guy. I can't remember I didn't look at his channel name or anything, but it helped a lot. So I was fucking with it for a little while and I couldn't figure out anything. I watched his video and it gave me an idea. I don't have a punch with me at the moment, but I do have tire spoons, and they're not perfect because they're a little round on the lip, but it did work. So I stuck the tire spoon up to the bottom of the bearing race, and I wedged a screwdriver in right there. That's basically what his tip was, and it helped a ton. So once I did that, I could just hold the bottom of the spoon and give it some leverage away from the lip that I'm hitting and just begin to knock it out. And I just did that, alternating faces, left, right, left, right, left, right, eventually until it comes up. And it worked pretty well. So there's a tip for that. Hopefully next I'll get a chance to start fitting the R6 front end on there. But it'll be a minute before that, so we'll just cut that in the video. And my 3 weeks will be 3 seconds for you.
One eternity later.
I already got impatient, so I wanted to see what we can kind of just test fit real quick. I ordered the all balls conversion, which you just go on their website and look at front end conversions. And basically it should just match the diameter of both the frame and the neck, the stem. Unfortunately, they don't really give any directions on what's happening with these washers, which I'm guessing they're just for spacing because I saw another person mention the same thing.
Day 2.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I've decided that I'm not going to finish working on this bike tonight until the front end is on. So what I mean by that is that I'm not going to stop working on it until I actually make some fucking progress. So let's figure it out. I have a whole ton of parts right here. It's hard to see because the lighting is kind of terrible, but there's some goodness right there. I'm going to run the 3 calipers. I just was messing around with this P32 Chinese copy, but whole ton of parts that are going on. There's the front end over there. I have to paint that bottom triple right there, so just gonna do that first so it can dry and cure and whatever, and then I'll get a bunch of other shit done while that's happening. Camera guy, are you getting this? So basically I'm moving pretty quick, so I'm trying to get a lot done, so I'm not filming very much. I just removed the wheel and the little mud guard thing down there. It's held on by this bolt, and 2 little push rivets right here and right here, those little plastic clips. You push the middle of them and then you can pry them up with a screwdriver real easy. So it makes it super easy to get to the shock. These are just 14s right here. I'm going to remove these real quick, and the front is easy to get to also. Oh, it's fucking tight. Got the big boy. I have a a wrench on the other side holding it on. Boom. Easy. Side by side of the 7 GSX 750 shock and the fz07 over here. If you look, they're a little bit different in length as well. So there they are, both same at the top, and you can see the 750 shock is about, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch, half an inch. I think it's over half an inch longer, but they weigh about the same, I think. Hopefully this one is a bit stiffer. So I wasn't happy with the fitment originally. This bracket on the bottom of the 750 shock is a bit wider, so I made these little metal spacer type shim things, and it should fit pretty well now. The little bushing in the shock likes to move around, so I'm gonna have to do a screwdriver to move that back so I can get the other shim in there. There we go. That's much better. A little bit slow, and you at home probably realized that I would need a longer bolt because of the larger spacing. So I got pretty lucky. I looked in my little bucket of bolts. Here's the original. There was only about 2 or 3 threads poking out with that, so there wasn't enough to get good contact on the nut. So here's one that is absolutely perfect, just enough for the nut to fit on and be tight like OEM. The only thing bad about this is the ugly red that throws off the color of the whole bike, but hopefully it'll at least give me a little bit better feeling with the bike.
A few moments later.
In a second, but the bearing actually, you can't really tell from that angle, but the bearing actually just sits just proud of the frame, so I think that's what we're looking for. It looks more exaggerated on camera, but it's just above the frame. I'm going to go ahead and pack these bearings. So I'm using the all balls conversion top bearing, and then on the bottom I'm just using the OEM R6 bearing, which it's technically not the same OEM R6 bearing anymore. It's the same as it, but I got a kit from a used bike because I needed the crown nuts, I think they're called, the top ones that tighten the stem. I got that from a Yamaha R1, and they use the same shit, so that's what I'll be using on the bottom. I'll do the same to the bottom and put them in there. Here's the top, or the bottom triple I painted, lubed up that bottom bearing. I'm gonna slide that in there. Yummy. I'm gonna try to use this bearing protector that came with the R6 or R1 parts, I should say. Oh yeah, it doesn't fit half bad actually with the bearing pressed down, but I'm just gonna put that there to hold it on, because there's also this, and then there's this weird there's this weird little fucking thing that goes in between the 2 crown nuts. So let me check it real quick. 6 parts diagram, there's this little whatever the fuck it is, it's a little rubber thing. Goes right there. Then the top crown nut goes on. Sorry if I keep calling it a crown nut, and that's not what it is. It looks like a crown nut to me. But then this gets tightened, and then this goes on top through both the crown nuts. Oh, that makes sense. So I'm assuming that's there so you can tighten it to at least a certain tightness, and it can compress to allow for a little bit of difference so that you can actually align the 2 crown nuts. And then I'll just drop that down there. And then the top triple, washer, and the top nut. That'll be tightened when there's forks in there, of course, but that's it. All right, I am actually super happy with how those brackets came out. I did them super quick and dirty, but they came out looking good. I hit them with some black spray paint real quick. You might notice that this one is spaced on the inside of this original bracket with that button head screw on the other side. And this one is spaced on the outside of it. So I think this bracket is just pushed in a little bit more. You might be able to notice that fairing is a little bit in a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. You guys that are just watching for the fork swap and maybe shock swap, you won't have to worry about that because you'll be running fairings that will hold those in place, but I'm quite happy with that. Maybe I'll add something up here eventually, but I'm not too worried about it. Now, oh, super awesome. The R6 triple holds the fz07 key cylinder, whatever, super well, just perfectly. They're the same mounting points, and it's fucking amazing. So that's nice. I didn't know about that. I'm about to throw in the forks real quick, and it's gonna be awesome. This is the moment we have all been waiting for. Let's slide this bad boy up in there. I don't know where I'm gonna put this because from what I remember, they are a bit longer. And what I mean by that is that the R6 forks are quite a bit longer. Maybe 1/2 inch to 3/4. So, I don't know if I told this story already earlier in the video, but basically I ordered a front end of a 2008 or 2009 Yamaha R6. It doesn't matter, they're the same thing. But the fucker sent me only the forks, and he sent me 2005 Yamaha R6 forks, which they fit, but the length is slightly different, and they're not as good. But I went through PayPal and got like 90% of my money back, so I basically paid shipping for a set of forks. So I'm going to run with these. If I ever decide I need better forks, I'll get 2008 and up. I'm going to have to take the top triple off eventually anyways to drill holes in for the handlebar mounts. I'm building a stunt bike if it's not obvious by the fucking stunt cages. But I'm using dirt bike bars eventually. No, right away I should say. When I get around to actually drilling it though. There's an fz07 with Yamaha R6 forks. Very, very beautiful. God damn. Just so far as I'm going to have to space out the fairings a little bit because it rubs a little bit. Just need about 1/4 inch or something. But that will go all the way to the lock to the right. It won't go all the way because of some little thing hitting the key ignition. This part right here, I'm just going to have to cut that off. You can't see it, but trust me, it's happening. The stop isn't fantastic. I saw this already a while ago when I mocked it up. It only hits not very much at all on the stop, but you could add a little weld to that and that would fix that issue. Got the bracket all painted over here. It's almost midnight, so I'm not trying to be too obnoxious. So rather than taking 30 seconds with a grinder, I'm taking 10 minutes with a fucking saw that I don't have a handle for. Alright, so that was it. I just need to clear out the fairings now. I can still lock it, but it's straight. So take that for what it's worth. I don't give a shit because I'm not going to be riding this on the street or whatever. But yeah, pretty cool. That's unfortunate I wasn't recording that. It's always funny to watch, I think, popping a bead with a shovel. This one was a fucking bitch though. I had to basically jump on the shovel. Jesus. I have a little bit of a dilemma going on. So there was a whole story with the guy who sold me these forts. I think I told it already, basically, but I didn't get the shit I ordered, so I got most of my money back. But the guy was a complete fuckhead. He was retarded. I think he overfilled the forts with oil because it feels like they're hydrolocking. They won't go past like 2/5 of the travel, something like that. They won't go into the travel very far. They just completely lock up. I'll show you real quick. So not even 2/5, like maybe a third of the travel, if that. So I'm about to open up the caps. I don't want to completely disassemble the fucking forts to do this, but so I'm not going to. I'm going to try to remove some oil from them and see if it gets better. Alright, so we can get some out of there. Am I surprised? No. I got a phone call, but you can see I sucked up a fucking lot just by sticking it down a little bit. These are supposed to have oil added to them with the fort compressed. And then you're still supposed to have like 100 mils of clearance with it compressed. And the spring out from what I understand. But, so, this jackass, I'll go ahead and tell you his name because he's scammed a bunch of people. Skylar Fernandez. He's on Facebook as Skyfern. He's a piece of shit. He doesn't know how to rebuild forts. I'm guessing he did it because everything else he does is fucked up. Yeah, so anyways, I'm going to do this. I'll probably get more out of this, but just for right now, I'll leave that. I'll screw that back in real quick. I'll do the same thing to this fort, and then I'll just check the travel to see what's up. I know I'll have to remove more, but I just want to see where we're at right now. At least the suspension works. Much better so far. I'm going to do at least another full syringe of those. And that should make a huge difference. I'll probably have to do at least 2 more per leg, I'm guessing. But, I don't know. We'll see. I just start working on this bike and I completely forget that I want to record sometimes, but this is the current state of affairs, just shit absolutely everywhere. But I don't know if I told you guys already, but the goal of this bike right now is I want to put a dirt bike seat on it. I've gone through all the ones that I have right now, the YZ, the New Year with the airbox up front, old CRF, new KTM. I didn't try that one because it's pretty obvious that's not going to work. But I tried the old CR seat. And then I got this WR. And I wanted to see if that fit. So I put that on there real quick. And I'll do that. And it actually fits pretty well. It looks a little funky right now. This is a second one that I picked up from my buddy. He was very gracious to give this to me. Been working on his bike a little bit. Well, thank you, Sean. But this is off of a WR that had a shaved seat, so it's a little bit low. I already planned to do that with this. I wanted to shave it to make it a little deep right there. And then I planned on adding a hump to try to lock my butt in, but that's what's going on right there. It matches the frame line pretty well, actually. You can see these brackets back here trying to stop it from going down, but I'm working on that already. So before it was hitting right here, but I just notched out the plastic right there and it's clear there now. The main thing